So I had a very nice 90-minute meeting with Brian Breeze today about the division. Caught him up on everything going on. We brainstormed a lot and just talked about the present and the future of the division. Good stuff all around. One thing that I really need updates on in the in our weekly dashboard is there's some blanks there where people's campaign goal is, and I need to know exactly how much they're supposed to raise, and that needs to be updated. Like to really be accurate. So, um, and then I created a new uh, box for actually putting their campaign page link up now, so I can look at those. And I'll put a new box up for actually putting in how they're doing, how much money have they brought in, which um you know we'll be able to see that on the ones doing Indiegogo, on ones doing stuff on their own sites or whatever. You might just have to ask them in meetings and get weekly updates. How's the campaign going? um and really just kind of uh, talk to them. Again, Paige, we know that your guy isn't going to be doing an Indiegogo or crowdsource. He's going to be going directly after corporate, sponsors. And so you're just going to have to keep that up to date in terms of, all right, my guy got $6,000 in sponsorships this week. We really need to be on it. Brian needs to know, you know, how we're doing in terms of actually monetizing this division, and he understood the initial pitfalls in terms of why it kind of took us so long to get out of the gate. But now we actually have people that are actively crowdsourcing or are about to launch their campaigns or are prepping the materials to specifically launch their campaigns. And so we really want to see how we can turn this over. And again, if those numbers are not correct on there, where someone's goal, it says on there, is 6,000 or 8,000 or whatever it is, remember that's not what the number that I want up there. Let me clarify this also. It's not, um, they might do a campaign for $8,000. The number that I need is how much they're paying, how much is their contract worth? What did they specifically sign up for in their contract? Because, people are raising money to pay for their equipment and for, maybe they're hiring a videographer or other staff or things like that, where they're bringing money in for that stuff. None of that's coming to NDP. So I need to know, you're going to want to divide it up for yourself. What's their overall funding goal and what does their contract say? And specifically ask them, how many blocks of 30 did you take? Remember, it's $500 for every 30 minutes for the audio show. People, it's $1,000 for every 30 minutes for the video show. People, that's what the contracts are. That's what they say. They sign up for blocks of 30 minutes of time. So how many blocks did they specifically sign up for on their current contract? And that's really important, especially when we have people that are kind of going to do it in waves, like Fabian is going to do it in waves, right? And the other person who's doing it in waves is one of Michelle's, so no point in me bringing him up. But Jeremy Strike is going to do a couple of episodes, like shorter episodes, and then go back out and use those to hopefully bring in a lot of money. So And he's actually paying out of pocket. That is the other thing, again, how much can they pay out of pocket if they need to? This is not like the book division where you heard last night, if they don't raise their money in the book division in 30 days, we're chucking them. You know what I mean? Which is a business necessity. Brian actually didn't really know or wasn't that aware of the fact that we're doing the financing stage and the early stages of the production stage simultaneously here. And, he agreed with me completely about it. We talked really for about half an hour on that subject and what's going to need to happen and how projects 1 through 4 should really be things that are done in the next cohort at like Creator Institute, and they should come in here ready for production with all that stuff, ready and in hand, right? And they should be taught about all the production things they need to do so that they're completely prepared. And again, I went down to Creator Institute in March, about mid-March. I think it was March 12th, something like that, and talked to the cohort down there for the very first time. And it was the very first time they had talked about production issues of any kind. And in my mind, I was like, okay, here we go. And I realized that these were not people who were remotely prepared to actually make a show. And so that's where projects, 1 through 4, well, 1, 2, and 4, because 3 is really just the video that they're doing with Natalie. But yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
Oh no, I was just saying Project 2 is the one with the video with Natalie.
Oh, okay. Is it? Oh, 2 is? All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. So whatever. Thank you for the correction. So 1, 3, and 4 are are the ones that are, they need to do the segment by segment outline and leading in, to making a production schedule. If your creators have not yet, and again, you may just not have clicked the check boxes or whatever on that dashboard for them, but I still see people with blanks in like project 1 or whatever, and that can't be the case anymore. We're August 10th. That can't be the case. If it's the case, it's just them being stubborn about it. And again, I'm less worried about that stuff for audio show creators that are just recording their stuff, right? The worst case scenario, they leave out a sound effect. Oh, I got to get my thunder and lightning bolts for segment 4. But okay, throw that in. But for the video show creators, especially, if they aren't doing this stuff, they don't understand how screwed they're going to be down the line. You don't have Chris, right? No, Michelle does. All right. I've got to clarify from her. He was going to maybe get actors, but that's never been confirmed. And I need to know because it changes his production schedule. So I'm going to talk to her about it. Do any of you have people that are maybe going to have other performers? Okay.
Alan,
Mhm.
speaking of just like other people, like at least with my audio show creators and Fabiana as well, my video creator, they already had the recordings done while they were at Creators Institute. I don't know if other creators did that or
Mhm.
if it was just my creators, but I know that sometimes in some of the copy, at least for the video, it's like, preparing to have creators and guests over. So is
Mhm.
it really just a case by case basis on this one?
Yeah. Yeah, it is because if they, look, some people didn't come up into this division because they never got past the conceptual script phase, and they just weren't going to, you know, um, get a show done in a timely fashion. You know, so the fact that the people that came in are, look, um, I had very, very long, and you know this because you do strategy meetings with the book authors.
I had one
So
today. Yeah. We're getting
yeah,
in the May cohort.
well, every single one that I had with every single creator was 90 minutes long, and some of them were 2 hours long because I needed to find out where they were. I needed to understand if they could really make a show, if they were going to be serious about making a show, about the financing aspects. I didn't scare anyone away. I had a great meeting with very friendly people, but I know people left some of those meetings just going, and they knew enough to know that they weren't going to be able to do it. And it was one of those things where, and there's different things that they wouldn't be able to do. The production elements, see, with a book, everyone believes they can write a book, which, as we know, that simply isn't true. But, you know, learn to spell. But the idea is that everybody took English classes. Everybody has written stuff in their lives, so it's not daunting or intimidating, until they're actually in the crunch and they're actually dealing with these deadlines for the first time. It's like, oh, this is different than when I was just working on this book loosey goosey for the last year and a half on my own or whatever. Now I've got 9 weeks to go through every word twice, and that's stressful, but it's still something that is accomplishable if they just sit down at their desk and do it. You did it. All right. How come every single thing I'm giving an example of, Ashley has been there and done that?
Yeah.
We do everything. Okay. So my point is that when I started talking about what they needed to do to actually produce a show, this was out of the element for these people.
Yeah.
And certain people realized that they just, like, the idea was nice to make a show, but people don't understand that it takes 3 to 4 hours to set up cameras and lights and all this stuff. And if you've never done it before, I don't care if you have a how-to booklet or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's daunting. So, we lost certain creators. Actually, they're still doing their show. They're just not doing it with us. Like someone like Katie North hired a videographer, and a videographer had a full suite, and Morgan Wider also. These people, like videographers, have a full suite, and all of a sudden the post-production aspects that we were going to do no longer were relevant, because if a videographer has a post-production suite available and it's all under one roof, under one package, Marco and his team become irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And then we really can't do business with that person. What are we going to do? Like, actually, Katie and I had a meeting where we actually spent 45 minutes trying to figure out how to do business together and couldn't. So so Brian is very pleased, by the way, because there were only 18 candidates and we have 9 of them. So that's a 50% yes rate to people who sign the contracts. He was like, if we get like 1 or 2 people, so we can at least find some data and this is provable, he would have not been happy, but he would have been like, we've taken the first step. The fact that we've got 9 and that they're in this stage now where they're all serious about this and they're all ready to do this, is that was a very positive part of our conversation today. So Brian is very pleased with the way things are going. I'm very pleased with how you all are doing it, considering that you came into this completely blind with no instructions, and I've been writing processes on the fly, you know, and Marco's been giving us processes for communication and post-production on the fly. So you've all been, I told you when I recruited you that we'd be flying by the seat of our pants, and that part of the challenge of this would be, adapt or die, right? So you've all adapted really well. It's been really great, seeing it so far. And we sort of just need to fill in information gaps. So, so information, you know, right now that's most important is exactly what's going on with the financing for each person. Because obviously, if they make great shows, we expect them to make great shows. That's wonderful. But we need to know that these financing goals will be profitable for us. So, you know, that's Brian looked at the numbers that are already on the sheet already and was happy with them. But I need to make sure those are 100% accurate, and there were some that just are blank. So we're going to need to fill those in and just double check it with your creators. Fabienne's in a situation, right, where she's doing 4 episodes, right? So her goal should only be $4,000, right? Because that's her current contract, right? And that's what I mean with all of, with all of the goals. Again, I don't care about what they need to do privately. I don't care if they need to raise, if they've figured out that to make their show, they need, $12,500. If they've signed a contract with us for $8,000, that's the only number that I care about right now. So just make sure. I think Paige, that Ahmed's said 10 grand on that chart. Is that
Yeah,
what
that's accurate. But he's
Mhm.
still MIA. I don't know where he is.
Oh, he is. Oh, I
Yeah,
thought he was maybe back by now.
no.
Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is gonna be updates, and your update is he's MIA. I'm gonna have to get in there and find out
Yeah.
because it's now, I mean, you take a vacation, whatever, but
Well, it's been like 2 months now at this
I
point.
know at this point. So it's like, are you doing this? Or are you not doing this?
Yeah.
For all I know, he's negotiating with an animator or whatever, but he's supposed to be communicating with you every week. He told me that he would,
Well,
and I guess he's not holding up to that. So I have to get back in there and find out what's going on. So this is unfortunate, but this is what I'm going to have to do tomorrow. Let me.
I didn't mean to break your flow by giving you an update.
No. You didn't break my flow. I really was finished with that. Any questions about anything that I talked about already before Ashley, you give us your kind of weekly report on what's going on with your creators?
I was just wondering, like during your call with Brian, like
Mm.
what did he say anything about also like the timeline that we're on, like the whole, I know it's supposed to take about 10 months because it's a lot longer than the book
Mhm.
division, but like is it going to be feasible like in the future to continue like at that length? Or
He and I, first of all, understand that in the future things are going to be very different. If we one, we're not going to do video and audio show creators together ever again. Two, there's different kinds of programs that we're looking at that we're to emulate that will help us shape and form this. What we wanted to do this time was kind of do it in this loosey goosey fashion to see, just to learn as much as we could learn. And again, originally they had wanted to do it in a funnel like way, the way the book division is. And I'm the person who came in and said that won't work.
Mhm.
These people are not prepared to create anything. And we need to, do this on an individual basis. But what Brian and I talked about today was I said, if we're going to grow this program out, I mean, you think about 200 or so book authors, all in this funnel, it's neat and organized. I was like, we can't have like 200 show creators all doing their own thing. That'll be chaos. And so Brian understands kind of where he wants to take this, but we sort of, with these creators, we need to see, you sort of need to kind of just see what's going to happen and get the data on what was successful and what was a clusterfuck disaster and what was in the middle of that, and that you're neutral about, and just things that you can improve and do better, or things that, like, oh, had we known this, we would have approached it like that. So that's why, these kinds of restrictions are not in place right now for this. I don't think you can build this division the way that you've built the book division, which, with what we're doing, the way we're doing it right now. But, other interesting things that we talked about, because I told Brian about how we, really lost people, because I talked not only about the 9 people we had, but some of the reasons why we lost the 9 people that didn't sign contracts. And the videography thing was a big thing for video people. It's interesting that all of the video shows we have, with the exception of one, are people doing very short videos, 5 to 10 minute episodes, right? So all the longer ones, people were very, I guess, intimidated by the idea of trying to film that themselves. And when they went out to discuss things with professional videographers, like I said, we got priced out. So, like, they didn't really need NDP anymore. So today was the first day I really talked to Brian about that. And he thought that was interesting. And, it may be a thing where we actually find videographers in major cities and subcontract them and things like that. And, there's different ideas, but of course you have to do a cost breakdown analysis of all that. And you can't really do that until you find out, if just doing it this way can be viable and profitable, with people just filming it their own damn selves with their own equipment and whatever. So this is, baby steps, and you see where the book division is at this point, and understand that it only took them 3 years to get there.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary. It shows you what kind of entrepreneurs Brian and Eric are. They're
Mhm.
pretty incredible and ingenious. And there's going to be some major steps that they take forward in the future as well, that as every company, continues to evolve. And Brian, kind of had this kind of coy smile on his face when I said, I see changes happening. We reached 1,000 bookmark, and whatever. And, he was like, you're not wrong. That has helped us, with some things. So we're not at the 1,000 creator mark. We're at the 9 creator mark. And we're just in the learning phase right now. We're at the very beginning. Don't expect much of what we're doing now to be what we're doing in the future. Again, like I said, one thing I talked to Brian about was, these projects 1 through 4, including their video, are things that they should have had done coming into the program. And the AE should have been able to look at it and assess their segment by segment outline, and their production schedule. And then they should have come in ready to, with a full understanding of what their financing was going to look like, and all that. But again, we had to build the contracts on the fly from the seat of our pants. Heather Sharp was fantastic during that process, and then Brian finished up and actually wrote the contract. And it was just one of those things where, like, they couldn't even sign a contract because there wasn't one for a while. And when you're in that kind of situation, you're just kind of rolling with the punches and going, what is the key right now for us? What is the main thing we need right now? And then you do that, you focus on that one thing, you get it out of the way, and then what's next on the list. So right now, a major part of this role for me and you is putting out fires, right? And so every creator has them. And I know Fabienne, came to you with stuff, just the other day, because she came to me with it, and I was like,
Yeah, she's taking a bit of a hiatus for.
Yeah. So, she has to do market research, but she also has family health issues.
Mhm.
So those two things combined are, and it is what it is. And we're just going to work with her on it because we can. We have the liberty to do that. And Brian is aware of her issues too. So, there's no problem there. Right now, I do have a problem with what Ahmed is doing because I don't know what he's doing, right? So that's a problem for me. It's a problem for Paige. We need to find out where Ahmed is, and is he, what is the story? If you're going to tell me that you're going to pay us 10 grand, I'm looking forward to that. And then, you can't just be disappearing on me for 2.5 months. So I got to find out what his deal is and see. All right. Give me the updates on, I guess, the whole role of your creators. I guess we know Fabienne's taking a break.
Fabienne's taking a break. Kathleen, I've just sent in her sound test to Marco and the team this morning. So gonna get that finalized. I think you brought this up last meeting, but just to reiterate, because I had a meeting with Marco last week.
Mhm.
He does want all the sound tests in a separate sound test file in the P Cloud. And then each sound test labeled with the date that it was tested. So that, it doesn't have to be done through Coop or anything, like it's only done through P Cloud.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then when everybody's in production mode, another thing that he noted is to do the timestamps via desktop and not the one on P Cloud, because the P Cloud one is unreliable.
Mhm.
It does ship the timestamps over, but the editors do, download the file from P Cloud and then converts back to desktop mode. So the timestamp from the desktop is the most accurate because Caroline.
That's the Google one that we've suggested and that we've made a copy of for
Yeah,
each
for the
creator,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
but the numbers that you're going to put down should be coming, the numbers from the desktop audio version or desktop recording instead of the P Cloud recording. Because when you upload it on P Cloud, it gets weird.
Oh, all right. This is new
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. So
Do me a
yeah,
favor.
Caroline was having
If
that
you
issue.
can put all of this information in our update room,
Okay.
because Michelle's going to need that. Obviously, Paige is going to need that. And, I'm going to need that. And, that was a lot of information in 30 seconds. So,
Sorry.
so put all of that in. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you took the initiative and had that meeting with Marco, and that's great. So go ahead and after this meeting, put all that information in the update room, maybe in a document also for it in that ends up in our tools.
All right. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we were talking and it was our first time meeting. It was really nice.
Marco's
He
great.
had a lot of information, and he basically said, like, just make sure they read the handbook, but they never read it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll try my best.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, so Caroline, she launched her email half of the campaign, so just for family and friends via Venmo.
Right.
Her first night, she was able to raise 700, and I'm
That's
gonna check
great.
in with her tomorrow or Thursday this week on our weekly call to see where she's at.
Okay.
And she just finished recording her first episode. It's technically her second episode, but first recording. And I listened to both takes that she did.
Mhm.
So she did one version and then the second version. And like when she's recording, and I think this is like for all the creators, they stop themselves when they stumble and then they say it again.
Mhm.
And then just like do different takes within that version. So I'm
Right.
wondering like on one hand, I understand like having version 1 and version 2, and like Marco and I
Mhm.
also talked about it because you could sound different. But if the settings are the same and they do it generally around the same time in the same environment, there's not much of a change I noticed within at least Caroline's versions. And it seemed like her version 1 was just a kind of a waste of time for both of us to listen to and for her to do, because she ended up choosing version 2 for all of them anyway. So I'm wondering like how efficient it is to be doing both versions when they continuously do take by take within that one version, if that makes sense.
Okay. So she did the whole thing twice.
The whole thing twice.
And
But
then
with the whole,
within each take, she had multiple takes.
only because like, human error, like stumbling on a word, said something
Okay.
kind of weird. So she just did it again. And then she chose the timestamps where it sounded
Mhm.
correct. So like she
Yeah.
could say a sentence like 3 times.
She did double the work she needed to.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know why she
because
that
it was
is
supposed to
that
be
some
version
kind of
1, 2.
communication. Okay,
Yeah.
well that's basically takes are, I mean, if you're gonna do all the takes within version 1, then that's all we need. You've done 3 takes.
Okay.
You didn't
Yeah.
need to do 6 takes if you got 3 takes. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, she doesn't have to do each
Yeah.
thing twice. I mean, it's one of those things where you're right. If it comes out fine and you're just time stamping what you want, then you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, so then like that, because I know like when we talked about like doing production to have like
Mhm.
different versions, and then
No, well,
where
I
I'm
have different takes.
or to have different takes, but like in different files, right? Like tape.
No, not
Then
necessarily.
should-
This is a miscommunication, but this is okay. This
Yeah.
is why we have these meetings. You know what I mean? To clarify, and no, I just want them to do multiple takes, because people that think they can hit a hole in one every time are
No,
fooling themselves.
Yeah.
So no, she doesn't have to do the whole thing twice with multiple takes in each one.
Okay.
That's not what we need.
Okay.
She'll be fine doing one of each.
So then in the naming convention, what would the version 1, version 2, version 3 be?
Well, it's all version 1 if it's coming from the same tape,
Yeah.
and then you just have inserts.
Okay. So we don't need the version naming part then.
You have to understand that a lot of that is for video people.
Oh.
Video people are going to have to do multiple takes,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't, I mean, I guess you can do that thing where you stop talking, but there's no way to edit that without it looking weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for video.
For
Mhm.
video. You know what I mean? Then it's like cuts and it's very weird.
Yeah.
So
Also, it's a lot of a bigger memory. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's right. People who are, yeah, the other thing is that people who are doing audio shows are reading it.
Mhm.
So people who are doing video shows can't just stand there with a piece of paper and read it. So that stuff with the versions really comes into play more for video show people than audio show people.
Sorry, Caroline.
That's okay. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
And again, I've made some mistakes based on misinterpretations. You're making one now. It's not
Yeah.
a big deal, you
At
know.
least the first episode. At least
Yeah.
we're not like
Yeah,
three
like
episodes in
right,
and-
right. At least she hasn't done it like 8 times or whatever. So that's okay. You know, I'm sure the two of you have a good laugh about it, or just say that's, you know, or here's how I would handle it. I would say, look, your audio came out so good that that we feel that you don't have to do that much work for the rest of the episodes. You know,
Right.
we're happy with the samplings that we got. So just make it seem like we didn't, fuck up,
Yeah.
and that, uh like because of the great job she's done, you're okay with one version now, and you know.
And she does a great job. Like,
Mhm,
yeah, her entire like speaking and
mhm.
it's really good.
She's
So
trained.
I'm excited for
It's
her.
clear that she's trained. I thought that from the first meeting I had with her, that
Mhm.
she's had voice classes or theater classes or something,
Mhm.
where she, and she's taught a lot. So that when you're a teacher, you also get into that whole thing. I've taught a lot, so
Yeah.
um, it's one of those things where, yeah, I thought she would do a good job. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's
But yeah,
yeah.
that's Caroline. So
Okay.
her funding is going, and then
Great.
she wants to close the family and friend one this week on Friday, I believe.
Okay.
And then start the Indiegogo campaign. So I'll be able to link a campaign when that comes out.
Great.
However,
Fantastic.
I will be, as I mentioned in a message, I will be out offline next week.
Oh
So,
yeah, I forgot about that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you reminded me.
if
Totally
she
spaced on that.
comes to, I'll defer her to you if she has any questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do that. I will be happy to work with tell all of your creators that if they even want to book like what would normally be their weekly meeting with me,
Mhm.
that they can, and that I will be happy to pick up the slack next week for you.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep.
All right, and then Montej, I just had his sound test in and got an A-OK from Marco on Monday. But then Montej actually went on vacation this week, but he'll be back on Friday.
Okay.
So he can get started on
What is
recording.
up with every creator? All 9 of our creators either started late or they're taking vacations or
I mean, it's
what's going
summer,
on?
it's the timing.
Yeah. Okay.
But he only has his scripts are coming along. He's probably out of 3 of my audio creators, he's the one who has more scripts due, but it's only like 3 more, I think.
Mhm.
So he's doing okay. He's working on the segment by segment outline along with each episode. So as he finishes an episode, he does a segment by segment outline. So that's
Okay.
why that hasn't been checked off yet.
All right.
Yeah.
That's, again, if he was doing a video show, I'd want him to do it the reverse way, because with the segment by segment outline in the instructions, it's okay to leave areas blank as long as, it's really about, location and things like that, making sure we understood that. But because he's doing this audio show, he wants to do it that way. Like it's just him recording in his apartment anyway, right? He's not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
And I think it more
Yeah.
just has to do with like just the piling of work. Cause again, like you said, like it should have been done during the Creators Institute.
Right.
So we're just trying to like put everything at once so that we can get through production.
Right. But because of that, his production will go well. And that's the thing, is that it's organized, in a specific way now, where what I didn't want was for 9 creators to do the whole process, their way when they've never had a way to do
Yeah.
it. And this kind of gives us a kind of a floor, like, okay, this is how we do it here.
It gives us an idea of like how to structure it again in the future.
That's right. So, I think it's definitely going to help them throughout the process, even if up front it makes it, again, they're front loaded with all this stuff. but this is, what it is. And,
Yeah.
again, this was stuff that Brian and I touched on in our meeting today that, that he understood that, and totally agree with me that they should come in to this process with all that stuff. That's preliminary stuff. That
Yeah.
stuff should be done
Yeah,
before they
like-
come to us. So
Yeah, like how like the promo video is done, kind of at the edge of us taking
Yeah.
in the book authors, because
Right.
I know that with Kathleen, like okay, I'll give her update next, but she's getting really antsy about her promo video, and I already
Yeah.
messed with Natalie, so I'm just gonna wait.
yeah, this whole thing has been kind of a, the promo video thing has been a disastrous scenario because Natalie and Heather are used to this process with the book authors, and they're not used to like 9 different creators can give them their files whenever they want, and then they've got to turn around and do the video or whatever. And I'll just let you in on some that I shouldn't, but Natalie was going to have plenty of time to do all 9 of the videos without a problem. But she had problems with one of her staff members and had to let them go, and then had to pick up all of the work from the book. It just threw her off. So she's counterbalancing having to do videos for book authors, and then when these come in, they come in at random times now, right?
Mhm.
So it is what it is,
Yeah.
and it's, but let her know that Caroline is starting her Indiegogo campaign next week and needs that video, right?
Caroline has her video. Kathleen is the one
Oh,
who wants.
Kathleen.
Yeah, sorry, all
Okay.
the TKs are sounding
Yeah,
the same at this
they
point.
really are.
But my
You've
two
got too
girls.
many of them.
Yeah. Well, so that's montage. And I
When
also
did Kathleen submit her stuff?
she submitted pretty early, but there was a time where Natalie didn't see her message of like about almost a week late.
Okay.
And so I think that might have held it up, which is like, happens. But she is now on the master file side, and she's gonna get.
I'm going to assume that Kathleen didn't tag her the right way,
Let me see.
because
Yeah,
if you get tagged, it's a bell. I mean, you're going to
Mhm.
see that. It's not going to take you a week to see that, especially Natalie's on the ball.
Exactly.
So
And speaking of
you know.
tagging, Nikki didn't tag me in her response to her updates chat, my speaker reel, and I just saw it. She freaking posted it like a week ago. She didn't tag me. And so I just put in the message for the speaker reel. So she's finally finalized with her video.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Are we done with all the speaker reel folk now? Are we done with them?
I don't know. It looks like in the progress sheet, they're not all done.
I know. We need to please check on all your speaker reel people and give me an update in the updates room over the next 48 hours. I know you've got a couple page. You still working with some?
Yeah, so Phillips is like uploaded, but Marco hasn't done anything with it yet, so I'm not sure what's happening there. And then
Okay.
Yasna has yet to fill in her sheet. I was supposed to have a call with her today. She didn't do anything. She didn't even show up, actually.
Oh,
And
she
then-
no-showed you?
Yeah.
At
And
some
then-
point, we're gonna just have to give these people their $300 back.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then
this was supposed to be done months ago.
Yeah.
That's not on you. That's on these people. Why would they give us $300 and then just sit around for 3 months? Like, this is not the book program. This was a 2-week program that these people are now in month 3 in. You understand?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna have to. I didn't know about Yasna. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and then Michael has stuff, but he doesn't have any photos. and I told him to upload photos, but he hasn't done it yet. So, I mean, if I can push it on without photos, that's
Well,
that.
I
But
don't know. Can you? Is it good or is it not good?
I don't think it's great personally.
Okay, then.
But
So here's I I I need you to get a little tough with these people, Paige. I need you to kind of get in there and let them know that the deadline for their videos to be finished is coming up. And we
Okay.
need them to be done because they've only paid us don't say this part, but they've only paid us $300. They don't get to waste our time for months and months on end. That's not
Yeah,
big money for this company. You understand?
yeah,
And Brian one day will charge $3,000 for this service. You know what I mean? Like this is a tester. And frankly, we already got enough of these done that we, you know what I mean? Like if we have to refund these 3 people, too bad. You know, you had from June to get this done. Like we're not at your beck and call. May, it started in May. So it's August now. Let them know that this has to be done. Nikki and Michael and Yasna, this needs to be finished. This needs to happen. So we need to clean that up. They've only paid us $300 and we can't take a bloodbath on this. All right. I don't really have anything else personally right now. How about you? Do you have anything? Did we do all of your people, Ashley? We did, right? We did everybody, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay. Yeah. Um, anything that we didn't talk about that anyone would like to? No? Okay. That's okay. It's late and we all had long days. So thank you very much. And again, the primary thing, if you only get one thing done over the next couple days, well, 2 things that I need to get done. The first is to update and make sure that the money is right, looks right in the campaign section of the dashboard. And then now the second thing is kick these video people in the ass and let's get them out of here. We need to punt them because this isn't a situation where they can just, it's like, what's going on. If you need me on those, let me know. I've already come into Nikki Groom twice.
yeah.
She's just a person who, I mean, I don't know her. She might be a nice person who's really responsible at her job. She's not taking this very seriously.
Yeah, I think I don't know. She just stopped being responsive at around that June time when she had like a vacation and everything, and then she was saying that she isn't sure about how happy she would be with it. But I'm like, okay, we still need to get it done because we're like halfway through, and if you have edits, then you make them now.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think she's just slightly giving off hope or something.
Well, the bottom line is that um she paid us $300. She didn't pay us
Yeah, exactly.
$5,000. She needs to be finished. We need to be done with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Like photographers, like you go into their studio and they take one picture of you and you pay them $300, right? It's like a 10-minute thing for $300. Like this is not like she doesn't get to do this anymore.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like if you're unsatisfied with something and we're giving you the chance to change it, I don't know why you don't just take the chance to change it. Change what you need, what you want to change or something.
Yeah, well, tell her that the final changes need to be in And same page, give Michael that ultimatum. We need these pictures and we
Yeah.
need to finish this. You know, this was supposed to be done months ago.
Yeah.
Say that to him. Say,
I will.
you know, like be
Yeah.
tough with these people. You know, I know you're a sweetheart. You don't want to be tough with people. You know,
And Yasna, I worked with her in the book division, and she's I'm trying to think. She's a little spacey at times, so
Yeah.
but she always does get stuff done. So I'm not really sure what she's thinking because we talked to.
I just think that we really haven't made this structured and we haven't given them deadlines. And when some people, if you don't give them a deadline, the deadline is forever.
Yeah.
You know
I'll
what I
give
mean?
her a phantom deadline. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be real.
That's right. And that's what you do with people like that, because some people need an actual date on their calendar before they'll move on.
Yeah.
It's, you know, strange to me, but that's, you know, like I make a list of everything I need to get done and then I just go do the stuff. You know what I mean? But everybody's not that way. So, you know, all right. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Appreciate it, all three of you. And Michelle, you'll be seeing this recording. Hope you feel better. And we'll see you guys next time. If you have any other thoughts or questions, put them in the update room. Ashley, all that stuff that you talk about with Marco, actually don't put in the updates room, it'll disappear there. Make a document for us. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be great. So thank you. And I will see you all later.
Alan.
See y'all.
Thanks, Alan.
Bye.